And then when you said something earlier about, you know that even something that you write that you are precious about, at some point there's like a letting go process, because you know that once it's sort of out of your hands, it could be changed.
Yeah, yeah, and you have to, and I think that's another, kind of blessing of working at a studio, is I got to see that there, even though, again, New Line was very much about, artists and protecting their vision and things like that. There were a lot of times where, we would get a script in that had like Jim Carrey attached to it, and there was another script that came in with nobody attached, but was a great script. Well, they're going to go with the Jim Carrey script first, obviously. And so that's just part of the business. So there's so many decisions. It's just like with acting, like it's so much different when you sit in an audition room than when you're going into audition, because, obviously the people in the room, they don't know how much time that you've auditioned and how much, you've auditioned for your friends and you've taped it and you've gone to, you've had acting coaches like coach you on line delivery, and you're sitting on the other side of the table when actors come in and they leave, and it's like, that was the best actor, but his hair color is the same as the other two guys that we have. And, and it's like, well, we could dye his hair. And then it's like, yeah, but then, and then some of the smallest things will like be the deciding factor, and it has nothing to do with the person's talent. So you have to learn to detach at a certain point. Otherwise you just, because the business, no matter what part of the business you work in, you're going to get more no's than yeses. Like it's to get somebody else to make your movie. It's easy to make your own movie now, because you can make a movie on your iPhone that looks professional. It's high definition now. But it's almost impossible, if you think about the odds, of getting someone else to put up money to make your movie. So getting a movie made in and of itself is a miracle. It really is. So to think about that, and then how hard it is to get cast for something, for every role that, when we put out a casting thing for every role, we'll get like 500 people that are submitted for like one role, and then you have to narrow those all down to people that come across good on tape, to the people that you actually call into the rooms, and then you whittle those people down, and you bring them in for chemistry reads. And there have been so many times where it's like, we had two great actors that we love for a part, but when you get them together, they just had no chemistry whatsoever. And then these two actors, that we didn't think were as great as the ones before, come in and have great chemistry, and you're like, it makes you rethink the whole thing. So yeah, that was a long answer about letting go, but you have to kind of let that filters over into probably any part of your life, because we all, no matter what we do for a profession, like we put we kind of identify ourselves by that. So we identify our value by how well we do in it. So, if no matter what you do, whether it's, you're a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, if you're not succeeding, then there's a part of you that feels like you're a failure, and you have to realize like so much stuff is out of your control. All you can do is your best. Like that's why I like writing, because even, acting's even worse, because you don't have any say over auditioning. Like you don't know if you're going to get an audition, but at least with writing, I can write. Like nobody can stop you, from physically writing all the time. So like that's one thing I have control over. So you can only worry about the stuff you have control over and do your best. But there are so many things outside of your control that have nothing to do with your talent. And oftentimes we do think if we don't get a part, or if we don't get a writing assignment, or if our movie doesn't get greenlit, we're like, oh, it's because we suck, our writing sucks, and you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just a common feeling I think we have as human beings about stuff. If we don't succeed at something, we think it's a personal failure, for us as a human being, like we're failing, when it's really not that at all. It's just, there's so many other things that we don't have no idea that factor into that, final decision about what gets going, or what movie gets made, or who gets cast.